The morning sun rose slowly over the quiet little town of Brookfield, painting the streets in a soft, golden light. The town looked peaceful from the outside, but inside its police department, tensions had been rising for months. Captain Sarah Mitchell sat in her small office, staring at a report that didn't add up. The numbers were wrong, the signatures mismatched, and the more she read, the more her instincts told her something wasn't right. Sarah had served the department for over 15 years. Known for her discipline and honesty, she believed that justice wasn't just about catching criminals, it was about protecting truth. That day, as she looked at the forged documents in front of her, she realized the corruption she'd always feared had reached the very heart of her department. She called in Officer Daniel Carter, a young and sincere cop who respected her more than anyone else. "Daniel," she said softly, "these reports, something's off. I need you to double-check these transfers." Quietly, Daniel nodded, knowing the risks. In Brookfield, loyalty was often twisted, and speaking up against the wrong person could cost you your career. Days passed, and Daniel returned with files that confirmed Sarah's fears. Money meant for community safety projects had been siphoned off for months. The signatures led to Deputy Chief Mark Lewis, a man Sarah had once trusted as her mentor. Her hands trembled slightly as she realized what that meant. Late that night, Sarah sat alone at her desk, the station nearly empty. Rain tapped softly against the windows as she opened a drawer and pulled out an old photo of her and Mark, taken years ago when she first joined the force. "How could you?" she whispered. She knew confronting him wouldn't be easy, but staying silent would make her part of the problem. The next morning, she walked into Mark's office. He looked up from his papers with a calm smile. "Sarah," he said, "you look tense. Everything all right?" She placed the files on his desk. "You know exactly what this is," she said firmly. Mark's smile faded. "Be careful what you're accusing me of," he warned, his voice low. "You could lose everything." Sarah didn't flinch. "If the truth costs me my job, then so be it," she said, her voice steady. "But if we wear this badge, it has to mean something." Words spread quickly. Some officers quietly supported Sarah, but others turned away, afraid of the fallout. Anonymous notes appeared on her desk telling her to stop. Her car tires were slashed one night outside her home. But Sarah kept going, collecting evidence and documenting every transaction, every message, every lie. When she finally submitted her report to the Internal Affairs Board, the town erupted in whispers. No one had ever dared to go against the deputy chief before. The hearing was held in the county courthouse, a small beige building that smelled faintly of old wood and coffee. Sarah stood in front of the board, calm but determined, her voice clear as she laid out every fact. Mark sat across from her, his expression unreadable. His lawyer tried to twist her words, but Sarah's evidence was solid. Every transfer, every fake invoice, every hidden account was backed by proof. At one point, Mark tried to interrupt. "You're doing this for attention," he snapped, but Sarah looked him straight in the eye. "No," she said, "I'm doing this because someone has to." When the final verdict was read, Mark Lewis was found guilty of corruption and misuse of authority. He was dismissed from service and later sentenced by the court. The room fell silent, and for a long moment, no one moved. Then Daniel stepped forward and saluted Sarah. Others followed, one by one, until the entire room stood. In the weeks that followed, Sarah received offers for higher positions in the state police, but she turned them down. She chose to stay in Brookfield, the same small town where she'd started. "There's still work to do here," she said in an interview. "Justice doesn't begin in big cities. It begins in small towns, with small choices that people make every day." Under her leadership, the department rebuilt itself. Transparency rules were introduced, community meetings became regular, and for the first time in years, people began to trust the police again. Children waved at patrol cars, and neighbors greeted officers by name. Sarah often said to her team, "Integrity isn't what you do when someone's watching, it's what you do when no one is." One evening, as she locked her office after another long day, Daniel asked her if she ever regretted taking the risk. She smiled and said, "If I hadn't, I would have lost more than my job. I would have lost myself." That night, as the lights of Brookfield flickered under the fading sunset, Sarah walked through the quiet streets she'd sworn to protect. She knew the fight against corruption was never truly over, but she also knew that courage, once lit, spreads like fire. And this story reminds us of an essential lesson. Leadership isn't about power or position, It's about responsibility. It's about standing up for what's right, even when you stand alone. True education is not just found in books or classrooms. It's found in the choices we make, the honesty we keep, and the courage we show when it matters most.